Jack looked very nervous for a minute as you stepped over him.
He should have.
Ding dong.
Hey friends, you're watching BrainStormAcres. I'm Henry.
And I'm Irene.
Today, Irene has a project that normally I'd be the lead on. But yesterday, I had a little procedure on my knee, which means I can't really bend, which is not fun.
Well, you definitely can't kneel, which is totally a necessity for crawling around on the ground and in a hole. So
yesterday we came home from the doctor and Irene discovered
that while we were gone, one of our tables out here in the yard, and this is a 6-foot table, was flipped into the flower bed by a dust devil. So we knew there had been some high winds today. We were gone for most of the day for a doctor's appointment for Henry, and seeing these guys knocked over was not shocking, although there's a lot of stuff just plain tossed around here that shouldn't have been. So like there's a whole stack of little lanterns that are over here that are just like tossed around like firewood or something, you know, all over the place. But what convinced us that we really did have some weather while we were gone was this. Yeah, that's a table, and it was picked up and flipped completely upside down and thrown into the flower bed. So yeah, this needs to get picked up. Nothing like squashing your flowers. This had stuff on top of it. It had 2x4s and all kinds of stuff. And obviously it was picked up and thrown. So I'm going to get Henry to help me. We're going to pick that up and put it back where it belongs. Well, that was sort of interesting. Henry helped me move the table. And this is what we found underneath it. So one of the projects tomorrow morning that we hadn't planned to do is we have to dig up the pipe for this and determine where it's broken, basically, because there's no way that PVC pipe should be able to bend that way by itself. Oh, Issa's going to help me because, you know, she's curious about all this stuff. That certainly did not help the flowers that were over here very much. Those zinnias have had enough trouble this year just with the mice and rats eating everything, but now we have a table landing on them. That didn't help things. I'm sure the Rebecca will be okay, but I'm going to have to turn off the irrigation. He's just so happy. She's having fun. Literally, all that stuff that was on the table, there's nuts and bolts and screws and all kinds of stuff. I'm going to have to clean that up. I got most of it out of the flower bed, at least. I don't want a bunch of stuff like that in there. But, yeah, what a mess. So Henry asked me what I was going to do tomorrow. I think I know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. It wasn't exactly something I planned on, but that's kind of normal. The weird thing is, you know, we have had the table knocked over before, but never picked up and flung, which is what exactly happened with that one, because that table over there, now that's a 6-foot table, and it was 90 degrees to the way it is right now because we had to carry it over there and not step on the flowers too much. But that was, I mean, it's not light, and it was literally picked up and thrown in here. It is not broken. I don't think it really sustained any damage. I'll have to look at the supports underneath it to make sure that nothing fractured. The doesn't appear to have. It's a welded frame. The glass is okay. It's tempered glass, which is why you should always get glass tables made with tempered glass, because it did land on rocks and did not break the glass. But the only one who's really excited about this bed right now is Issa. She's having a fun time bouncing around in here. But I'm going to go work on the irrigation so that I can turn it off. I have to, this is bed number 2. And I'm going to have to turn off the irrigation on this, or we're going to have a fountain in the morning, and we don't need that. So, something else to do tomorrow. He just hears the crickets. What's funny is when she catches one, she doesn't usually play with them much in the house. Oh, there's a hummingbird at the feeder. Well, that's cool. So, anyway.
And it's a good 25 or 30 feet away.
Yeah, so it was down there and it was upside down on here and it broke the PVC. Yeah, we had previously worked on the irrigation here together, and there were a couple times when Henry was on the road when I would just finish a section as a surprise for him when he came home. So to be able to say, and look, now that's done, so we could get on to something else. So yeah, I am an old-handed PVC, so.
Time to get going.
Yeah, it is already 92 degrees out here. I'm going to have to move a couple of plants that are in the way. Of course, I just planted some of this stuff not that long ago. So I'm going to get in here with a trowel. I'm going to figure out what I can do. And we'll see. We got to figure out that pipe's got to be broken. There's just no way it's not. And we can't run the irrigation here until it's fixed. So, yeah. Let's figure this out. This is the spot over here. This was knocked flat yesterday by a dust devil when it flipped a table on top of it. So I'm going to move all this stuff out of the way because I don't want to be tripping over it while I'm trying to work on this, because chances are that this is not going to be a simple process. I'm going to probably go ahead and transplant. Wow. Terrible timing. I'm going to probably transplant the plants that are in here that is seedlings. Ugh. Okay, that section gets watered over there. But, okay, let's figure this out. I have some self-seeded plants in here, which I hate to disturb. Let's get some space. I'm going to have to squash a couple of things in here, but hopefully not too much. The big thing is that this has got to be broken, and lift here. Okay. One would assume it's broken right in here. I'm going to have to figure that out, because it connects into this. So maybe I won't have to rip that stuff up. Yeah. All right. Trowel time. I was actually considering moving this plant anyway, because I don't really think it's happy here. I mean, it's surviving, but there's a difference between surviving and happy. And that dirt is just not sticking to it at all. Oh well, I don't like doing that. So this is a weed. So we can take the weed out. That plant I just stole out of here is actually a... is that a columbine? No, it's a lupin. And this is a weed. So, I don't mind pulling the weeds. That's not a biggie. In fact, there's a few weeds in here that need to come out. But I'm going to move a couple of rocks too. little less lumpy. This is just bizarre. I hear a bird big time. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out a couple of the weeds in here and plant a bunch of these things that have to be moved into here, because they'll probably do fine over here in the shade, or as fine as they're going to do. Let's see. You can see this is being well watered by the current irrigation setup. So they'll have as good a chance as they're going to have anywhere to survive. Hi, bug, you need to move. I've got an enthusiastic wasp over here. I don't really want him to be particularly enthusiastic, so I'd like him to leave me alone. There we go. Violas. This poor thing. Yeah, all the dirt completely came off of this. Fortunately, this is a damp, cool environment here in comparison to everything else, so it's got an okay chance. This is a little marigold. Stick it over here, because this is damp and cool in comparison. And we'll give it the best chance it's got. Retransplanting is never a great idea, but I did not expect to have everything destroyed by a dust devil yesterday. So, God, I hate these stupid grass seeds. I really try to clear that sort of stuff before it goes to seed in the spring, and I just failed miserably this year. So, and then you get something like a dust devil that comes through, makes a heck of a mess, and distributes all your weed seeds with great glee. And I have a totally chewed up irrigation over here. Great, that's why there's so much water right here. I'll have to rebuild that later. Not right this second. Okay, so something else to put on my list. See, that's a cutoff irrigation line, and so is that. Yeah, so I'll have to figure that out later. All right. God bless that stupid camera is busy crashing on me on a perpetual state here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off. And I'm not going to put this head back on. I have now got new heads that I can use. All right. Now, see, this is literally creased in half here. So I'm going to tear that off. I probably should have done something different than that, but hate doing this because it's not good for the plants. But well, that's what I'm going to see, how much we've got left underneath here. I was busy transplanting as many plants as I could to salvage as much as I could first. It seems to just be folded right there, which is actually not nearly as bad as it could have been. Rudbeckia, they may or may not make it, but I don't have a hell of a lot of choices. I've already transplanted a bunch of the stuff that was around it. We're going to put a fitting on it, slip fitting on it, and we'll be able to raise it up as high as we want it. But these were high to start with, so in fact higher than I actually wanted them, and I just decided to leave them because, well,
I already did it. So.
yeah, it was already done, and I wasn't going to, at that point, say anything about it. I don't think there's any breaks. I think it just creased it. I mean, this just like folded over. What I'm thinking is I'll need to cut this back a little bit to get some room to work in.
Yep.
But what I'm thinking is I could probably just literally lop this off, lop off the bottom of that,
yep.
and put on a slip fitting,
Yep.
join the two together.
I'll go clean this up and...
And I'm not going to use that head again since I have the option of not using it.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, because that was a pain in my guess where. I'm thinking about how big these handles and stuff are, and how much room I'd like to have to work with, instead of trying to work in a tiny little hole, which I know is not going to be successful. Those are now transplanted, and they're transplanted right into an area that's getting water from the irrigation line, and I'm also going to give them more with watering can, because it would be nice if they survived over here. This is a bed that I had hoped to turn into all perennials, and I've had some success, but not quite as much as I would like. So, yeah. And I know that these guys are tolerant of very sunny locations, whereas the lupine that I transplanted next to the house will be a lot happier over there in the shade, because it's just too bright for him. And it looks like my at least one or two of my four of my cardinal flowers have survived. At least one's been chopped down once, but it's still alive. So the trick is to grow faster than the rodents could eat you around here this year. Not a happy camper. Back to the kitchen area. Whee! You changed your shade spot, Jack. Yeah, it's too hot in the sun, Mom. Too hot in the sun. Okay, so cut the bad part off the riser. We have a coupler. Gonna take, and we have a wasp city here. Move, dudes. This is an awkward position to cut pipe in.
It is. Sorry, I can't get it to help.
Oh, I don't expect you to. I've cut pipe in this position before. It's just awkward. There.
Okay.
And you can really see how it just crimped this. My guess is this was brand new PVC. So my guess is it was a warm day yesterday, and that's what saved us.
Well, there's also a lot of dirt that was packed around that.
Right.
So that was probably preventing that T-fitting from breaking.
Shattering. Yeah, no, that doesn't seem to have moved. Okay, so I've got the mud wiped off from around the top. There is water in there. Which it's going to continue to rise because there's water in the pipes. So the wasps will come in just because that's a fun thing to have happen. But we found a pair of the pump pliers, so these are my good ones. Oh. Of course.
I can open it up.
Here, I'll let you do that. You're useful.
Well, I can't bend down, so...
That's okay. You don't have to bend down, you just have to open containers.
Okay, the glue is also open.
Okay, great. These wasps have decided that this is a nice moist place to get a drink of water. And I'm like, your timing stinks. So first we purple, and then we goop. And I'm going to wait for this to harden up nicely. And then we will probably shoot water out the top
Yeah, we'll flush the line
to make sure it's clean.
get down inside.
Once it's done, I'm going to be putting one of these on, which is a much better head. But last year there were none of those available, not even online. So, not even from the website of the company that makes them. Okay, water break. Okay, so now it is your job to stand here and get wet. I'm going to start the water and shoot it up in the air. I'm going to try and turn it off as fast as I can.
In my way. I think you got it.
I turned it off, but it's not turning off.
It takes a while to
Yeah. Okay, so you can see the mud come out of it. Time to let the wasps enjoy their mud. Those are, I'm sure, mud daubers.